You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
The home opener brings a win, but a lot of uneasiness. Straight ahead in the Reb Zone, we break down the first W of the season. What went right? What went wrong? And what needs to be done to get back in high gear. Plus, a look ahead to a tough test this Saturday against Northern Illinois.
This is going to be a touchdown!
We won't send you wide right in the Reb Zone. We're running hard for 30 minutes right now.
Let's go!
This is the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by Born and Raised, the official home of the Rebels on the road.
Good evening and welcome inside the Reb Zone, where win number 1 is in the books. Kevin Bollier alongside UNLV head football coach Bobby Hauck, and a win's a win, but this one certainly wasn't pretty, was it?
Well, coaches think wins are pretty no matter what, but this wasn't a thing of beauty, Kev, by any stretch of the imagination, and we got a lot of work to do to get this right, but we're really happy to be 1-1, and I know we're going to get a chance to talk about it next week, but we've got a monster game in our stadium next weekend.
All right, let's start talking about the highlights from Saturday night's game, where the Rebels roared out of the gate and then struggled to get back to the groove.
From start to finish, play with your heart, play with emotion like Coach Hauck said. Win on me, win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go, baby. Is that 3 on 3? That's 3 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, family on me, family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family.
The home opener full of fanfare, and the Rebels looked sharp out of the gate. After the defense forced a 3-and-out, the offense went right to work. First play from scrimmage, Blake Decker hits freshman Devontae Boyd for a 48-yard gain all the way down to the Northern Colorado 16. 4 plays later, Decker rolls right and finds Marcus Sullivan in the end zone. 5 plays, 64 yards in only a minute and 50 seconds, and UNLV was off to a 7-0 lead. Northern Colorado moved the ball into Rebel territory, but kicker Seth Zapensky missed a 49-yard field goal to keep it 7-0. Both teams traded punts until the Rebels got the ball back late in the first quarter. After moving to the Bears' 43, UNLV goes to the bag of tricks, but Sullivan's pass is picked off by Courtney Hall, and the opening 15 minutes ended with the Rebels up 7-0. Early in the second, Northern Colorado kicked a 31-yard field goal to cut the lead to 4. Later in the quarter, UNLV had good field position at the Bear 35 after a bad punt, but the ensuing drive went nowhere. Nico Bornen came in and booted a 54-yard field goal, tying a UNLV record. It split the uprights, and the Rebels extended the lead back to 7 at 10-3. With the Bears facing a 3rd and 9 at their own 37, Brandon Willis came through with a sack to force a punt. Starting at their own 23, Keith Whiteley ran the ball 4 straight times, all with success, as the Rebels pushed into Northern Colorado territory at the 39. But the turnover bug showed up again. Decker throws the pick at the 12-yard line, drive over, half over. And both teams went into the locker room with the Rebels holding a 10-3 lead.
Let's start with the turnovers here in the first half. You had the 2 interceptions when you guys were deep.
Turnovers in the second half, too.
Right, well, that's true. Northern Colorado territory, though, those turnovers are obviously killers.
Well, turnovers lose you games. They can win you games, too, if you get them on the other side of the ball. But turnovers lose you games. And, you know, coming out of this game, we feel really fortunate to have a W turn it over like that. I mean, that's just a parameter that a lot of us in football, us included, operate under. And when you turn it over like that, you're not going to win games. And it's just not good by us, and we can't overcome it probably ever again this season.
On the positive side, that first drive executed to perfection, going down the field quickly. Yeah,
it was great. We hit them on the post and then stuck it in there, had a couple of good runs, and converted a first down to the 5-yard line, and then hit them on the sprint out and or the double slant that we adjusted on the escape. And you know, we were off to a good start, maybe too good a start. Our guys might have eased up a bit, but every time, and it's going to continue in the second half highlights, every time we got something going, we turned the ball over. When we were down in their end of the field, we controlled field position with the kicking game to a degree, and we didn't capitalize in the red zone again. And, you know, if this goes on one more week, that's going to be considered chronic.
Absolutely.
So we need to go.
The rushing game was pretty effective. In the first half, Keith Whiteley got the bulk of the carries, and you guys were able to move the ball on the ground a little bit as well.
Yeah, the running game got going. We ran the ball really well. We've got our power game going a little bit. Took care of the football in that area. The running backs were good. Both George and Keith were good with the football in their hands. We were to the last man a few times, once on a screen and on several runs. And, you know, we'd like to come out of those things and score some touchdowns.
I know special teams are important to you. They're important to every football coach. Nico Bornen's 54-yard field goal ties a UNLV school record, and to have that type of a leg is an extra weapon, really, in terms of how you map things out.
Yeah, the long field goals are kind of fun and all that. I don't know if you can live on 50-plus yard field goals. Jonathan Leva hit one, the one he was able to kick as well. And, you know, we kicked off. We covered it well. Our punt coverage team played hard, so we had some good things going again this week in the kicking game.
There were some good things in the first half. I know there were some frustrating things. What was the message to the team in the locker room? Because I'm sure it was spirited. Well,
we had a couple things we had on both sides of the ball we had to adjust because UNC gave us some things we hadn't seen before, and our quarterback was having trouble seeing coverage, and they had a couple of wrinkles on the edge. They were hardballing their corner and making some plays, and so we had some things that caused us problems on both sides and some formations on the defensive side. So there was a lot of X's and O's going on at halftime, really. Tell the truth.
The Rebels did have the ball to start the second half, and they hoped to get some breathing room, but this turned out to be a nail-biter right down to the final seconds.
UNLV opened the second half with a drive starting at their own 25. The Rebels went no huddle and delivered a steady diet of running back George Nafahu. A pass to senior Micah Mataele put it at the Bears' 26. Then a couple of more runs pushed it to the 16. But disaster struck again. Decker's pass is behind Devontae Davis, and Ryan Gackle picks it off, ending the drive. The Bears, though, were still pinned deep at the Rebel 3 and quickly got out of the jam. Robert Holland ran for 14 yards for some breathing room, and quarterback Sean Rubalcaba drove Northern Colorado down the field. This 33-yard pass to Dimitri Stimphill put the Bears in position at the 3-yard line. On the next play, Holland races to the right corner for the score, and we were tied up at 10 with 6:55 left in the third quarter. The Rebel defense would come up big later in the quarter. Watch the great read and pick by Mike Horsey, who returns the ball all the way down to the 20-yard line. That led to a Jonathan Leva field goal, and UNLV was back on top 13-10 as we headed to the fourth quarter. Early in the fourth, a punt by the Bears pinned the Rebels deep in their own end at the 2. 2 plays later, Decker is sacked in the end zone for a safety. That cut the lead to 1 at 13-12 with just 10:54 left in the game. After the free kick, Rubalcaba drove the Bears deep into Rebel territory. On 3rd and 7 from the 11-yard line, the defense holds. Zapinski trots on to try a 23-yard field goal to give Northern Colorado the lead, but he misses wide right, and UNLV dodges a bullet. The Rebels put together a long, time-consuming drive with Nafahu and Whiteley carrying the load and draining the clock to under a minute. UNLV had a 4th and 4 at the Bears' 7 with 15 seconds left. Decker rolls right, throws to the end zone, and is picked off by Hall. Fortunately, he's brought down to save the game, but on the return, receiver Marcus Sullivan is injured. Watch the replay, and you can see Decker's cleat get Sullivan square on the left shin. He stayed down for several minutes and was helped off the field, but there were still 3 seconds left. The Bears' last gasp failed, and the Rebels avoid a disaster, coming away with a 13-12 win and striking up the fight song for the first time this season.
Let's talk about Sullivan's injury. What can you tell us at this point?
You know, I actually haven't seen him yet this morning, but hopefully he'll be all right. Yeah, that's as far as I can go, I guess.
The last play, was it designed for Decker to throw that ball, or was it just a time killer to roll out and get out of bounds?
Well, it's a play in our offense. It's a read play, and we figured the end was going to crash, and it'd be a pull read for him. He probably could have given it there, but by no means should that ball have ever been in the air. I mean, that's the reason why we didn't kick the field goal. Is we wanted to take all chance of losing the game out of it, and you know, that's my fault for not communicating that clear enough to him.
48 rushes, 20 passes yesterday offensively, an imbalance there. Was that the game plan going in, or was it just dictated by things throughout the game that you saw?
Yeah, it was dictated by the game. We want to be balanced. We'd like to be 50-50 in that area, but we weren't completing any passes, so unless it was to the other team. So we leaned heavy on the run game and were able to escape with a win. And you could sense that even watching the end of the game with our players. That wasn't as exuberant as a team that just won a hard-fought one-point game. They know we left some things out there and we got some work to do.
The defensive line did show some improvement. They were able to get a little more pressure, you know, on the quarterback and make some plays. That has to be at least encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we played better on defense. Our tackling was exponentially better than it was a week ago. I think we're tackling a little different cat than maybe at Arizona, certainly. But our front played well. I thought our coverage was pretty sound for the most part. I think our linebackers have a ways to go yet. They are young, and we've got to get going and start playing faster and faster each week. But our defense played well. Obviously, in this day and age, it doesn't matter who you play. You hold somebody to 10 points, you're doing a pretty good job.
I know,
especially when you turn the ball over like we did.
And I know it's only 2 games into the season, but how concerned are you that the offense has only scored 2 touchdowns so far?
You know, it's a concern. I mean, we got to score more points. I mean, the stat is putting points on the board. That's what counts. Don't let them and score more. But you know, we haven't been very good in the red zone. We haven't finished drives. That's a big concern.
Well, we're just getting started here in the Reb Zone. Straight ahead, the players react to Saturday's first win of the season. And we're going to talk about how the 2 freshman wide receivers may have a bigger role as the Marcus Sullivan injury plays out. We're back in just 2 minutes.
You're watching the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by Born and Raised, the official home of the Rebels on the Road.
I mean, yeah, it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, I mean, we came out with a win. That's what you want, whether it's 1 point, whether it's 40 points. I mean, obviously, I'm frustrated in my individual play. There's some things that were unacceptable that I need to improve on, but as a team, we came out with a win. I think our defense rallied around us on offense, and some things we weren't really doing too well, but, I mean, we're walking out with a W tonight, and that's what's important.
I don't think there's any bad wins, man. Whenever you can come out with a victory, how ugly it is, you know, no matter what, I think it's good. It's something you can build on, and you see where the potentials are. You see where there's areas for improvement, and you also see that through adversity you can win.
So we'll take this win, sit back, celebrate tonight, then Monday fix the corrections, and we on to Northern Illinois next week.
You mentioned it earlier, but it was very somber after the game with the players doing the fight song and walking off. Was that as much to do with the Sullivan injury that it just happened, or was it the players knowing that they did not play to their expectations?
No, it had everything to do with coming out of there and escaping in a game we thought, you know, we probably should have won more comfortably. But that's football. You know, you watch what happened around the country. Nebraska escaped McNeese State yesterday. That happens. You have to go play, and you have to play well to win.
While Marcus Sullivan's injury continues to be monitored, it should be noted that the Rebels are deep at the wide receiver position, and it does put a little more focus on the freshmen at the position, Devontae Boyd and Kendall Keys. Both have had strong showings in the first 2 games, and quarterback Blake Decker says he's comfortable with having them as weapons in the offense.
Regardless of if they're freshmen or if they're seniors, they're playmakers. I mean, they've balled out since spring and summer and fall camp, and we don't look at them as freshmen. We don't look at them as seniors. We look at them as Devontae and Kendall and some of these other younger guys as weapons that we got to utilize.
So those 2 have been important in the offense. They've seen some passes and a lot of reps, and it turns out that could be important here as we move forward, not knowing if Sullivan's going to be out for any extended period of time.
Yeah, we played 6 receivers. We feel like we can go 6 or 7 deep in that group, and feel good about those young guys.
Boyd has shown some speed and some abilities to go get a ball, similar to what Devontae Davis has shown us over his career.
That's what we saw when we recruited him, and he's got more speed than he probably gets credit for. He plays at full speed, which is great for a freshman.
Well, it's time to put that one to bed. Let's start looking ahead to what's next, and that's Northern Illinois on Saturday at Sept Stadium. When we come back, a preview of what the Rebels can expect when the Huskies get to town.
You're watching the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by Born and Raised, the official home of the Rebels on the road.
It is right back to work for the Rebels, and the schedule does not get any easier. Saturday at 4 o'clock, BCS Buster, Northern Illinois, coming to town with some momentum.
Northern Illinois has proven to be a major player on the college football scene. After Saturday's 23-15 win at Northwestern, the Huskies are 2-0 and have won 25 straight regular season games. NIU is a tough team to prepare for, using multiple formations and with depth throughout the roster. 3 different quarterbacks see playing time, and against Northwestern, the Huskies rushed for 221 yards on 55 carries from 7 different players. The rushing focal point is Akeem Daniels, a big bruising back at 230 pounds. Defensively, the Huskies are fast and swarm to the ball. Some of the big names from the BCS team of 2 years ago may be gone, but Northern Illinois is locked and reloaded, giving the Rebels a tough challenge Saturday night on both sides of the ball.
So this is a team that mixes up their formations a lot, as we talked about in the piece there. They are not easy to prepare for.
No, they're not. As you can tell, though, we've been talking. I'm excited about this one. We've not had a game this big at Sept Stadium maybe ever in our time here. I mean, these guys were in the Orange Bowl a year ago. They've won 25 straight. They're 2-0. They just went in and beat up on Northwestern in Chicago. They're essentially the Boise State of their league, to kind of put it in perspective. And we're hoping people will come watch it. Should be a great game out at our stadium, and 2 good teams going at it, I think.
When you have a team that's won 25 straight, how do you find some type of a map, if you will, on how to be successful against them? Is it a matter of taking a little bit from each of the games as you look at film?
Yeah, you watch film. I mean, no one dominates every play of every game. I mean, that just doesn't happen. So you try to find things that will work against them, both sides of the ball, and find an edge somewhere. And basically, for us, we've got to go play well this weekend. And if we do that, we'll have a chance against a terrific football team.
They do like to run the football. They had that one big back. It's going to come back to that key for the defense of tackling and in some instances, gang tackling to get this guy down.
Well, it kind of always does. You know, you got to tackle. It's first-order business on defense. You got to fit your gaps. And the things they do on the offensive side of the ball cause you gap integrity issues. All the different read things they do with their quarterback, and you know, you saw from the highlight clips there, they're going to do a whole bunch of different stuff, and we better have our thinking caps on, as well as be ready for a real physical game.
It's going to be a fun one to watch. 4 o'clock kickoff on Saturday at Sept Stadium, and definitely want to come and check that out. If you're a college football fan, this one should be a good one. We're going to take one final break, and then we'll have some final thoughts from Coach Hauck. First, though, here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
Watching the Fox 5 Reb Zone Sports Show, presented by Born and Raised, the official home of the Rebels on the road.
So Saturday's game, the last home game here before 3 straight on the road, and this is a good chance for people to come out and see 2 really good football teams that have a lot to prove out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's the last chance for a while, as we have to go on a long road stretch. But if you don't like this game, you don't like college football. It's a team coming in here was in a BCS game. I don't know if an Orange Bowl team's ever played in Sept Stadium. They were in the Orange Bowl a year ago. They've won 25 straight regular season games, and the Rebs are going to fight hard to to try to knock them off and get our second win of the season.
And a win here could be a big momentum builder as you guys pushing towards the conference schedule coming up.
You know, all wins are. This would be big for us. You know, there's no make or break things this time of year, probably not until you get to the month of November, but this is a huge game, as big a game as we've maybe ever had in our stadium.
Well, we hope to see you at 4 o'clock out at Sanborn Stadium. That's a wrap for this edition of the Reb Zone. We leave you with the UNLV Plays of the Week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Good night.
Reb Zone Sports Show was presented by Born and Raised, the official home of the Rebels on the Road.